hindrance for someone to come and entertain here now I am situation. So therefore, the introduction is easy. The task is, the exercise is, how can we maintain this thought moment for consecutive few thought moments, or few seconds, or few minutes. So whenever you keep the mind here, now I am rather free of wandering thoughts, daydreaming and contemplation, or distracting external sounds, or bodily pains, you have to learn the art with your own ways and means to keep the mind friendly with the body, sitting posture. So this is in a way a kind of a loving kindness you extend towards your body, and therefore it's a kind of a new way to look into the life, because we are usually unrelated, distracted, thinking that concern about the social work or political, economic, or even the love the other people, hardly we have time to spend with ourselves, or rather I have hardly time to be with myself. So therefore it's justified in terms of that time. Otherwise, one way, that is farther to the serenity way, concentrated way. Otherwise, on the vipassana and the open way, be mindful here and now. So when you continue to be like that in a few, say, seconds or few minutes, the inwardness is going to settle down in three ways. The body itself will find settling down. The mind settling down. And together with that, your breath also will be settling down. Whenever the mind is agitated, the body, the breath is agitated. Whenever pain is going to happen, the mind, the body and the breath is agitated. Whenever external sounds distracted, these two will be agitated. So you give the conditions away from this agitation and they will settle down. When that is happening, it's naturally the mind is less and less engaged with the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the bodily intentional actions. Under such circumstances, the natural breath will come face to face. If that is happening, that is a very good start. Otherwise, don't go in search of. Just try to sit comfortably and in a relaxed way. If the breath is going to happen, you just keep the attention with the natural breath. So this is one step ahead, but there also don't try to do force breathing. Let the breathing happen naturally. Just observe as and when the breath happens, as and when the out breath happens, just understanding without distracting or disturbing this settling down process or the mindfulness. So when that happens, of course not without thinking distractions, sound distractions, the bodily distractions, but whenever such distraction happens, don't try to hate them, don't try to get irritated, just let them come and go, don't assume, don't react to them, and when the sound comes and goes, whenever you have a chance, again as a beginner, try to be friendly with your sitting posture, and if the time permits, go to the breath. So each time you start like a beginner. So therefore no hate or no assumption not to have thoughts, not to have sounds and not to have pains, but of course you have to give a condition for them to be reduced. But when there is no place on the earth, you can have free from them. So whenever they happen, let them come and go. Whenever you have a chance, you go to the either sitting posture or to the breath, natural breath. So when the breathing going to happen continuously, with face to face your noting mind, that's a very good sign to say that now mindfulness is catching. So your friendliness to your body is catching. You learn the art of being here and now. So when it happens, you may see the breathing usually takes place on the upper part of your body. The lower part of the body will take care of itself. That is why at the beginning we have to make it comfortable. And let the lower part to take it itself, and the upper part, it must be erect so that the respiratory tract will not be distorted. That is why it is sit erect. Ujjunkayam Panidaya. Ujjunkayam means the straight upper part. But even if you are taking a chair, no problem. The upper part of the body must be kept symmetrical. So lower part you can just forget about and after doing a comfortable sitting. So when you are observing the breath in the upper part, that's a very good full-fledged starting to the meditation. There onward, when you are sharp enough, if you keep on observing in detail, you can see in a group like this specifically, some people have tendency just to observe this in-breath and out-breath as a whole and keep on continuing the mindfulness, and so much so the mindfulness going to be continuous, the concentration will be the next thing. Or otherwise you can see the mindfulness is the proximate factor, the close factor for the concentration to take place. That is, mind is undistracted, focused upon in-breath and out. But there are some kind of people who have their own personality traits and temperaments, dispositions, where within the upper part of the body, they can rather pinpoint the most touching point, most conspicuous, prominent point, where the in-breath air column and the out-breath air column is rubbing against, most prominent. If that is the case, that is the point where you can sharpen your mindfulness. Instead of the whole upper part of the body, you can just focus on that particular point, but not to observe that at a particular point is not the disqualification. Still you are in the breath, but those who have the tendency, skillfulness, they can pinpoint the place. If that is the case, that one more sharpness, one more step ahead. And there you can just forget about the whole body and concentrate on the particular point. There are some people start to feel the uppermost part of your respiratory tract, that is the end of the nostrils, or maybe on top of your upper lip, where you feel very slight, mild sensations as and when the in-breath and out-breath happens. Some people complain they can't feel it like that. Instead they can feel the lowermost part of the respiratory tract, that is to say the diaphragm. As the diaphragm movement happens, the abdomen becomes rising or falling. The same pattern with the breath, but the more conspicuous, prominently feel the rubbing against your clothing, or expansion and contraction, or rising and falling of the abdomen. So both are valid. It depends on your personality. So don't try to play between these two. If both going to happen, select the most prominent conspicuous one. With your trial and error, test, and even the costing few sittings, no problem. Because this is a very lasting point you are clarifying yourself. So whether it is happening at the abdomen level or it is at the breath at the nostrils, maybe. So if it is the kind that you feel the breath, it is called Anapanasati Bhavana in technical term, that is mindfulness of the in-breath and out. If it is your prominence is at the abdominal level, it is called the Burmese system, the rising and falling level. So then onward, there may be some discrimination among the group members. Some are just observing the breath, some together with the breath, they can feel the touching sensation in the particular place. And further, maybe a little too much, but anyway, if you have the quick wit. So, keeping the mind in the touching point, the prominent point, you observe sharply, you may see when the in-breath happens, there is no phenomena called out-breath. When the out-breath happens, no action called in-breath. So there are individual, discrete two operations. So can the mind read the intrinsic features of the in-breath versus out-breath? That is to say, when the in-breath happens, does mind read it? This is not out-breath, this is not the thought, this is not the pain, this is not the sound. This is in-breath. And when the in-breath ceases to exist and go to the out-breath, does the mind read it or experience it? This is not in-breath, this is out-breath. Not the thought, not the pain, not the sound. So this is the maximum calibration. You can go as a beginner. And more you are to see the breath, the touching point, as well as the discriminative sensation of the in-breath and out-breath. That means you have three guidelines to continue. More and more you observe closely, you may find less and less distraction from the thoughts, less and less distraction from the body, the pains, and the distraction from the outside sound. That's why you are penetrating, becoming more and more close to the primary object, sensation, and more you come close, immediate, less and less distraction can disturb you. So this is the way we keep on practicing the mindfulness in a sharpening way, taking the breath as the primary object. So sometimes you may see morning sittings are better than evening, or evenings better than sittings are better than morning. Whatever may be, keep the timetable and try to maximize or facilitate this kind of association of the primary object with the mindfulness. So this is what we call the intensive method of establishment of the mindfulness under the most conducive conditions. Forest atmosphere, no any other family affairs or office work or any kind of thing, full time with yourself. And but thing is, how can we deal with this thinking, pains and sounds? Because our monkey mind, or mad monkey mind, jumping from the other one to the other without any agenda. So don't consider it as your personal mistake or as your disqualification. This is something you have to sympathize, something you have to accommodate, something you have to do it, experiment with choiceless awareness or evenly suspended attention. So that is how these are the shades of meanings of mindfulness. When you are furthering in your meditation, you will be more and more equanimous to see when the thoughts happening, recognize this as thought without a reaction. And whenever chance happens, you go to the breath, and as a beginner, start from the gross and keep on fine-tuning, go to the sharpest point as to see in breath versus out breath. And the pain happens definitely after 20-30 minutes, that is natural, but don't consider it as your own mistake, that's the human nature. Don't take it as my pain, my body, myself. Just see the pain come and go. Only it become a problem if you are going to react. And sounds also always there unless you disturb sounds. The unmindful mind is disturbing sounds. But when you become mindful, you can understand these sounds are not addressing you. They are environmental sounds. So keep them as such. Don't claim that it's me, mine, no self. Just try to keep the mindfulness intact. So this much I would like to share as far as the intensive method of mindfulness is concerned. So I would like to take a little time to comparatively give some more information towards the semi-intensive method. The semi-intensive method what I call is the walking meditation. For the sitting meditation, you need a land area enough for your sitting clothes. But for the walking meditation, you need a stretch enough for 30-40 steps. Because while you are walking, it is a level land, straight land, as much as possible, and then walking up and down. There, you have to determine this is the land stretch that I am going to make use as a walking path for this 1 hour of walking session, and stand still facing the path. And when you are first going to be mindful in your standing position, when compared to sitting meditation you appear like a pyramid. But in the standing position, you feel like a peg driven to the ground, or like a candle fixed standing, so you can feel standing. And whenever such familiarization happens, that means when you can bring the mind, here now I am standing position, there is a green light for you to just start walking, and few minutes you just walk in this path that you have determined, enough for 30-40 steps, without any meditation, in a brisk walking. Specifically after a morning getting up from the bed, or after a meal, or after a sitting meditation, you must give a brisk walk so that blood circulation and the nervous system will be mobilized and warming up will take place. So don't ask the question, what is the speed? Speed will be decided by your body knowledge. Just walk up and down. And after few minutes, after familiarizing, again come and take a standing posture and see whether the body is ready for the walking meditation. If you need to go, feel like going to a toilet or drinking water or whatever may be, fulfill it. And then in the sitting meditation, you pay the attention with the breath to the upper part of the body. In the walking meditation, it is opposite. You have to pay the attention to the lower part of the body. So therefore, swinging hands may be sometimes distracting. So you bind it in front of you or behind, and then pay attention to the moving right leg when it is moving, and try to feel the touch of the sole of the ground, of the right foot. So once that is established, the left leg will start, and then you pay the attention to the left leg, and at least try to feel the touch of the ground of the sole, whether it is starting from the heel to the toes, or you keep the flat way, or you have outermost external part is touching than the inner, or inner is more firm than the outer, whatever may be, and you just feel it. So compared with the breath meditation in the sitting, there you find a particular point to keep. Observation is in-breath and out-breath, but here the point itself is changing from right leg sole to the left foot sole. So even though it is changing, the touching point, the sensation is grosser than the breath. So therefore, this is easier even for children, even for elderly people, because that whenever they are walking, they can get the touch of the right leg and the left leg. So when the attention, the mindfulness is continuously we can make from the right foot to the left foot, left to the right to the left, even though this touching sensation is gross and conspicuous than the breath, your eyes are open, but don't look at the legs directly, or don't look at the object in front of you. Just have a downcast eye, so that you will be observing somewhere around 2 meters ahead of you, and therefore visual object is going to come. And wind movements you can feel. And if you are doing outdoor, bird sounds and the sounds also may come. I may appear like some distractions, but don't take it as a distraction, they are exercises. It meant in this walking meditation. The midst of all seeing and hearing and wind movements, an intentional movement of your leg when compared to the involuntary action of breathing. The involuntary actions happen. So all these are going to give a different combination when compared with the sitting. So when you walk, when you go to the other end, again there's a challenge because you have to turn around. When you are turning around, again the trend will be broken. But after turning, you come again back to the same point and walking up and down. That is the way the walking meditation is prescribed. So it is to give an alternative or variety of kind of training and entertainment in establishment of mind. So this walking meditation, usually in a talk we give after the sitting meditation or intensive meditation, but in the practice it must be after it. All the time you have to do walking meditation first and then come and sit. Then only you will get the benefit reciprocally each other. Just like athletes do warming up first and then go for the real event. So likewise, walking meditation must be the forerunner, and it will sort out most of your questions. Those who are complaining about pains in the sitting meditation won't have to anymore. Those who are complaining that they can't feel the touch of in-breath and out-breath, it won't be a problem in the walking meditation. And those who are recovering from serious illnesses, they complain they can't sit and wait. Yes, but walking they can do. Even the doctors will prescribe, so you can heal. And after a meal, if you do walking meditation, the digestion will be much smoother. Asite pite kayate sayate samma parinamam gacchati. That is what the Buddha says. Whatever you eat, you drink, you lick, or you bite, will be well digested if you are going to take a walking meditation. And the best is the mindfulness, the very mindfulness you are going to gain from the walking meditation, even though it is thin, is lasting, is durable than the thick walking, the mindfulness you are getting in the sitting meditation, because whatever the mindfulness you gain in the sitting will be broken whenever you open your eyes. But in the walking meditation you gain with open mind. So therefore whenever you are going to learn the art, the balance between this walking and sitting, your whole meditative life will be a hobby rather than a task force or regimentation. So the Buddha is the only master introduced this walking meditation. All the other religious masters, they have introduced kind of meditation methods, but hardly you find any literature or instructions for walking meditation. And prescribing that, the Buddha says, if someone is going to take this walking meditation seriously, he can develop the endurance or forbearance for a long trip. Our samsaric journey and understanding this spiritual path, both are long journeys. Many yogis start with the hilarious ceremonial start, but 90-95% drops off because of various reasons. That is, I would say, they are not aiming their meditative life to the mindfulness, and they are not giving enough emphasis on walking. That is that I humbly ask you to make this whole retreat in order to develop mindfulness, no any other than that, and take 50% of your effective time of meditation for walking. So this is how the timetable is fixed. It is taking care about 8 to 10 hours of walking and sitting, the best of the day, and rest of the time. That is to say, your toiletries and washings and eatings and sleeping and all the kind of thing. They also explain a fair chunk of duration of time, and there also we have to extend this mindfulness, training of mindfulness, that we call the extensive method of establishment of mindfulness. They are in the retreat, don't socialize. Whenever you are going to talk, you will not only destroy your mindfulness, you are destroying others also and setting a bad example. Unless otherwise it is necessary, you have to talk to the organizers to get your things done and all the kind of inquiries, but not otherwise. So therefore, they respect each other for their cleanliness, their silence, and their mindfulness. So in the day-to-day activities, make a determination each and every action to do as much as possible with mindfulness, and specifically whatever the actions that you can use for better mindfulness, do little in a slow manner. That will help you to be self-conscious. So therefore, two strategies you can use. Within a day, especially in the retreat, and you can extend it to day-to-day also, you can determine some actions you do by yourselves. In my case, personally, the prominent thing I started with brushing my teeth and washing in the early morning. Make a determination daily when I do, as well I will be mindful. And under such stance, you can do it little slower than the other days, and then it will help you to become self-conscious. So slowly and determine mindfulness. And the third and the most important, more radical way is listen to your own sounds. Whenever you are performing an action, listen to your own sound. I am not asking you to reduce sounds. I am just asking to listen, because as far as you are listening to your own sound, naturally you will be silent. It is the secret. And not only that, you will never complain to other people, those who are making sounds. Because you will understand, if you are mindful, you are not making noise. If you are not mindful, can't help. Regulations and rules and the public laws can't make people calm down. Unless otherwise they are self-conscious or mindfulness. So therefore, you will develop the sympathy towards other people making noise also. And you take care about not to emit unwanted sounds to the environment. So then you are gaining kind of a merit. Wherever you go, you gain silence. But if you are emitting unwanted sounds, if you are not concerned about that, wherever you go, in return, you will get conscious. So there it is a reciprocal thing. So in the day-to-day activity, try to limit to yourself as far as the circumstances are providing, and then whenever you perform that kind of thing, when you are washing, bathing, in the toilet, brushing your teeth and washing your hands and wash your dishes, do as much as listening to yourself, little slower, and make a determination as well as you be mindful. So this is how you learn to be mindful in the retreat day to day, but it's a very expensive method. Very little bit of mindfulness you can gain, but that is the only thing you can bring when you go home back. You don't get this kind of a regular timetable. You don't get this kind of a silent and meditation goals and practicing people. So when you go home, whatever you gain in the day-to-day activities have little similarity to your busy multitask life at home. So therefore, all the three, the sitting meditation, walking meditation, and the day-to-day activities must be given equal emphasis based on the mindfulness. So this will be a then real retreat, and in a way learning who am I. It's a spiritual question. You may learn in the life, the other people, other world, and all the kind of thing, but to the last moment of your deathbed, you don't know who am I. So whenever you become mindful, be here and now, this is the question we are exploring, to understand who am I. Therefore, whenever the mind becomes silent, if you are going to engage in thinking, don't hate it, don't react it, understand I am a kind of a person with full of thinking, daydreaming and fantasies. So if you are a person going to get irritated by sounds, understand I am such a person. Even in the meditation hall, even the ticking sound of the clock is a problem for them. For some people complain telling that when I sit, the most prominent or destructive problem is pain. So these are not something negative, these are symptoms, so you can diagnose yourself, who am I? Unless otherwise you introduce a primary object, you will never do this inward trip and diagnostic trip. Unless otherwise the Buddha to be and come and tell you, you are so and so, you have these qualities and these faculties, there is no other instrument, no other second person on the earth to tell you, unless otherwise your mindfulness, your mindful mind. So therefore these distractions are not something destructive or negative, they are ever coming and tap on your door to diagnose, but so far you have been failed because you hate them. But mindfulness asking you to be choicelessly be aware. The choiceless awareness, or evenly suspended attention to the breath, or a sound, or pain, or thought. That's how you develop your immunity, that's how you develop your forbearance and sympathy. And whenever you learn little bit of loving kindness to yourself, little bit of accommodating yourself, it will in enormous way you develop the sympathy to other people. Unless otherwise you love yourself, you don't know the art. So therefore very difficult to accept love to the others. So therefore first and foremost, mind your own business. Take care about yourself, ultimately it will going to give a good vibration with time to come. But of course at the beginning it has to take a certain ground or acceleration, and that is very, very painfully slow. That's the profundity of the mindful. Take prime time of your life to establish it. Once established, it will going to serve throughout. So therefore, don't get discouraged. Don't try to gain the mindfulness only in sitting. Do alternate with the sitting, walking meditation, and extend to the day-to-day activities. Ultimately, you will develop your own ways and means to master it. So I just gave a basic little guidelines. So that's all I thought of sharing with you regarding the basic instructions are concerned. So I have written down these kind of things. So there are some few pamphlets of summary of what I have mentioned. There are a few pamphlets one to prepare, and if you need, or otherwise you can download it from the website, and it will be helpful for you to remind the necessary to trust in and take it as a guideline. So that's all what I have shared. So anyway, before the lunch, I would like to ask to be the first day, if there are any relevant questions or any unclear points or any statements you have to make for the sake of discussion or question and answer session. If you have any unclear points, please give me a comment.
I had one step number 2. Eat after 12. I kind of want to know more about it, how it helps the body, what was the reason, so that you can have a clear mind.
Yeah, it says that specifically